My name is Quillon Harpham. I work for HR Wallingford, just to the south of Oxford in the UK. I am a principal scientist in the hydrodynamics and metocean group there, specialising in hydroinformatics. I've been coordinating the North Sea Checkpoint project, and I'm also involved in the Atlantic Checkpoint project in the more physical challenges, not the biological ones. Well, the North Sea Checkpoint project concludes with this meeting, so we have now finished, and we've finished all our challenges. The results are very varied. There's an enormous amount of detail in the results, but to pick up some of the patterns, a lot of the larger data gaps tend to concern biology, ecology, and fisheries and human activities. We've been discussing this a lot over the conference for the last couple of days, and there are a lot of good reasons for it, but we think priority needs to go into those areas for data provision. Other results of the project indicate that data is not offered to the communities with adequate metadata. Metadata, a bit of a technical term, but it's a description of the data set and how that description is structured. It helps people find data and it helps people use data. And we are finding that it takes a very long time, once you have a task in mind, to collect the data you need, analyze whether it's useful, open it and process it. And a lot of that is due to inadequate metadata from the data suppliers, so you don't know what you've got until you actually get it and open it. So one other message coming out from the project is how important it is to improve the quality and consistency of the metadata that accompanies the data sets. There are a number of things we've explored on the project that we think would be useful to the other checkpoints. We've been evaluating data sets in terms of indicators. So, for example, could you find the data set? How usable was it when you opened it? Does it contain the right parameters? Were the commercial terms acceptable to you? So we used 6 indicators for how good a data set is to the community, how valuable it is to the community. I would recommend that we think carefully about standardizing a set of indicators and research a set of indicators. Those indicators would then contribute to a data evaluation, a data advisor system, if you like, similar to TripAdvisor, where you evaluate the hotel that you've just stayed in. Were the staff polite? Was the bed comfortable? Was the breakfast good? Was the room clean? And there are standard indicators there on TripAdvisor and the other similar sites, so that users can evaluate hotels. In the same way, it would be very helpful if we could do the same thing with data. Were the commercial terms acceptable? Could you open the file? Could you find it? When you found it, how usable was it? So this is all part of a circular communication between the data providers and the data users, and then that feedback will then encourage the data providers to offer better products that are described with better metadata. My wish list to EMODnet would consider some of the things I've mentioned already. That is, initiatives to try and tidy up metadata and how it's used, initiatives to standardize how indicators evaluate data sets. But I'm very much in favor of standardization, but I'm in favor of sensible standardization, and any standardization that EMODnet has an opportunity to implement should be done very sensibly. You can remove all of the joy and common sense from a task if you implement standards badly, but if you implement them well, then it encourages extensibility, creativity and interoperability of data, which is what we're trying to achieve. And there are a lot of other recommendations on the wish list to EMODnet to do with the data provision that's necessary. Sometimes a data gap is due to the data existing but not being available widely enough, where the problem is a management or a policy level problem. Sometimes the data gap is to do with the fact that there simply is no data available and monitoring needs to be undertaken if we want to solve that problem. I would like to see EMODnet make that very clear, that when data gaps are recorded, we understand why there's a data gap and a recommendation for it to be filled should that be necessary.